I tattled to their wives. So there I was, 19 years old, working as a server at this upscale steakhouse downtown. These 4 middle-aged guys in expensive suits would come in every Friday for their boys' night out and treat me like their personal entertainment. They'd make disgusting comments about my body, snap their fingers at me like I was a dog, and leave messes everywhere on purpose. The worst one was this guy Marcus, who wore a wedding ring and would slide his business card across the table with his phone number, saying things like, "Call me when you want to make real money, sweetheart." His buddies, David, Rick, and Tom, would laugh and egg him on. They'd order the most expensive steaks, run up $400 tabs, and leave me $20 tips after making me run around all night fetching extra this and extra that. My manager was this spineless guy who cared more about their money than my dignity. When I complained, he'd just say, "They're good customers, just smile and deal with it." But then one Friday night, they crossed a line that made me see red. I was serving their table when Marcus grabbed my wrist as I was setting down his drink. He pulled me close and whispered, "You know, my wife doesn't have to know about our little arrangement." Then he slipped a hotel key card into my apron pocket. I yanked my hand away, and the other 3 were just sitting there grinning like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. That's when something clicked in my brain. These married men probably had their wives' contact information somewhere I could find it. So I smiled real sweet and said, "Let me get you gentlemen some more bread." I went to the back and grabbed Marcus's credit card receipt from earlier. There it was, Marcus Williams, and I remembered him bragging about his wife's interior design business. I spent my entire break on my phone researching all 4 of them. Marcus's wife Sarah had a successful design firm with her photo all over the website. David's wife Jennifer was a pediatric nurse who posted family photos constantly. Rick's wife Amanda ran a children's daycare. Tom's wife Lisa was a high school principal. I found all their business numbers and social media profiles. Then I sat down and typed out exactly what their husbands had been doing every Friday night. The sexual harassment, the degrading comments, the hotel key card incident, everything. I called Sarah first because she seemed the most professional. She answered all business-like. "Williams Design, this is Sarah." I introduced myself as a server at the steakhouse and said I needed to discuss her husband's behavior during his weekly visits. The line went dead silent. I explained everything Marcus had done, including the hotel key card. She was quiet for about 10 seconds, then said in this ice-cold voice, "Thank you for calling me. Marcus will never set foot in your restaurant again." Jennifer was even better. When I told her about David's comments and behavior, she started asking detailed questions like she was building a case. She said she was disgusted and that David would be facing serious consequences at home. Amanda from the daycare was horrified. She kept saying, "Oh my God," over and over. She said she worked with children and couldn't believe her husband was harassing a teenager at her workplace. But Lisa, the principal, was the nuclear option. When I explained what Tom had been doing, she got scary quiet. Then she said, "As an educator, I find this behavior absolutely unacceptable. These men have daughters. Thank you for having the courage to call." The next Friday was incredible. None of them showed up. But the Friday after that, Marcus came in alone, looking like he'd been hit by a truck. He sat at a corner table, ordered a salad, and left a $50 tip without making eye contact. My coworker told me she'd overheard him on the phone, saying his wife had frozen their joint accounts and he was sleeping in the guest room. David apparently got kicked out entirely and was staying at his brother's place. Rick's wife made him quit the country club and donate money to women's shelters. Tom had to attend counseling sessions, and his wife made him write me a formal apology letter. The best part? Sarah, Marcus's wife, actually came into the restaurant a month later. She introduced herself, thanked me for calling, and said she'd left Marcus and was filing for divorce. She handed me a $200 tip and said, "This is for having more backbone than most adults I know." Word spread through the restaurant staff about what I'd done. Other servers started asking me for advice when customers harassed them. My manager, who'd been useless before, suddenly started backing us up when customers got inappropriate. Sometimes people ask if I felt bad about ruining their marriages, but I didn't ruin anything. I just told their wives what they were already doing. If your marriage can't survive your wife knowing how you behave when she's not around, maybe the problem isn't the person who told her. Those men thought they could treat me like garbage because I was young and needed the job. They forgot that their wives were women too, and most women don't tolerate that kind of behavior. Never underestimate the power of a wife who finds out her husband isn't the man she thought she married.